When I was younger, I thought of beauty as something that was perfect. Hair's in place, makeup is great, the clothes, the right body type. As I got older, I had a better understanding that beauty is a work in progress. Beauty is about strength and power, living in your truth. They can be messy, unpolished and frayed edges. They're not always tailored and everything in its place. When I look at myself in the mirror, I can see the things that I wish I could just fix. You wish you had a filter in real life and you could just remove a role or take away a mark. But if I remove those things, then what am I removing that that thing is attached to? When I was a very little girl, in my family, we were all told that we were beautiful children, but you didn't see people who looked like your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and your parents in media as beautiful. It was usually something negative. There were publications that celebrated us and showed us in a different light, and that helps, but it's not the same when it feels as if it exists in a bubble. And it's very hard to know you have true value outside of that bubble. Am I seen? When I was growing up, I was definitely a Disney girl. And one of my favorite stories was Cinderella.
It was a lovely dream, too.
And I remember saying to my mother, oh, I want to be a princess. I want to wake up with long blonde hair and blue eyes because that's what the princess looked like. My mother having this conversation with me about princesses don't have to have blonde hair and blue eyes. They can have brown hair and they can have brown eyes and they can still be princesses. Then I began looking for the brown princesses and I never saw them. It took a while to see that. I don't know how this little black girl from Brooklyn got to be a partner with Disney. When we were signing contracts and we knew that it was real, I cried because I was holding it in for so long. And then when I was sitting in the theater the night of the premiere, I cried again because I was there again. And this film was even bigger. The representation was even more. When I started Carol's Daughter, I had to tell stories. And the reason that you tell the stories, especially for Black and brown people, is because no one ever told our real story. They told their narrative for us. And there used to be a time when publicly you had to live their narrative and privately you lived your true life. And now we're publicly living our narrative and rewriting the way that you see us and retelling stories so that you recognize that we're here. And I think Disney is so wonderful in taking the nugget of the fairy tale. And if it was okay for me to learn the life lesson of Cinderella from a blonde princess with blue eyes, it's okay to learn the life lesson from a brown mermaid. Carol's Daughter was a hobby. It was Lisa having fun in the kitchen, mixing up cocoa butter and shea butter and beeswax and turning it into a cream. I remember when people would say, oh my goodness, what you're doing is so cute. You mix up things in your kitchen, it's so adorable. But now it's a really big industry and it's not just me. You know, there's other people out here in this game, but no one knew that that market was there until we started to crack it open.
My house and get some more.
Finally, she was able to open her first store in Brooklyn in 1999.
It didn't take long for Hollywood heavyweights to come knocking.
People make assumptions that when I did that, I did it solely to get a check and not care about my community and not care about the people that I created products for. And nothing could be further from the truth. You get to a point where you're tired of explaining who you are. At the end of the day, I know who I am. But I do wish sometimes that negative narrative was not always the easiest thing for someone to hop onto. This company was built from the ground up, with blood, with sweat, with tears, with laughter, with family, and lots of cocoa and shea butter. We celebrated 30 years. To have built something from nothing and to see what it is phenomenal. And it's not just me, there's other people out here in this game, but no one knew that that market was there until we started to crack it open. Start where you start, know your purpose, know your passion, know your story, and keep telling your story over and over and over again, because that is what makes you unique from everyone else.